So the next program we would want to look at is the economic recovery programs and structural adjustment programs. So the economic recovery program and the structural adjustment programs are economic policies designed and promoted by the World Bank and also the International Monetary Fund (IMF) for developing countries since the early 1980s. Ghana, for instance, has been under this program. The World Bank and the IMF made the provision of loans and other support. They were established to provide conditional on the adoption of such policies. So these programs have particular policies any country that takes a loan from the World Bank and the IMF must adhere to and implement in their countries. So the economic recovery programs and the structural adjustment programs were designed to encourage the structural adjustment and other economic reforms of an economy by, for example, removing excess government controls and promoting market economy as part of the neoliberal agenda followed by the World Bank and the IMF that drives a particular version of globalization. So the IMF and the World Bank are of the view that the structure of an economy must be well adjusted for the economy to become a developed economy. And they giving loans without these economies adhering to the structural adjustment policies. The monies might not be used so well. So it was very strict for nations who receive loans from IMF and World Bank to adhere to these programs. And they carried conditions like removing excess government controls, promoting market economy. If your economy is a communist economy, it must become more or less like a laissez-faire economy, so that prices will be determined by the invisible hand, the forces of demand and supply, and your economy should be opened up to trade. So these are some of the tenets of the two programs. Right, so the economic recovery programs and the structural adjustment programs were aimed at achieving long-term or accelerated economic growth in developing countries by restructuring the economy and reducing government intervention. And according to research, economic growth is positively correlated to economic development. That means a country that experiences economic growth within a sustained period of time is likely to also experience economic development. So the aim of the economic recovery program and the structural adjustment program was to accelerate economic growth in developing countries. Some of the policies implemented under these initiatives include currency devaluation. You devaluing your currency. Ghana has, for instance, devalued its currency. Nigeria also. So currency devaluation. Managed balance of payments. Managed balance of payments. Reduction of government services through public spending. That is cutting public spending or reducing a country's budget deficit. The government will not spend so much, but rather reduce the spending. And also reducing tax on high earners. All these were conditions in the program. Reducing inflation, wage suppression. I'm not supposed to increase wages anyhow. Increase wages, I don't know if you remember, when you increase wages, what happens is inflation will go up. During Dr. Kila Liman's time, wages were increased and Ghana started experiencing hyperinflation. Also privatization. It is believed that state-owned enterprises are mismanaged. So when they are privatized, they become more productive. Lowering tariffs on imports so that the economy will be liberalized to trade, and also tighter monetary policies. The central bank will not be printing currencies here and there. Increase free trade, cuts in social spending, and business deregulation. Business deregulation. For instance, government deregulates oil. When the oil comes and is very expensive, government tries to reduce the price by providing some money to mitigate the cost. All these the central bank, the IMF, the Structural Adjustment Program, and Economic Recovery Program suggest that they should be cut. So governments are also encouraged or forced to reduce their role in the economy by privatizing state-owned industries, including the health sector, and opening up their economies to foreign competition. These initiatives have been widely criticized for actually worsening the plight of the developing countries for whom they were designed, rather than helping them. All because a lot of developing countries have not experienced dramatic positive change in implementing these policies. It has rather been detrimental to their economies. So we'll look at HIPIC in our next lesson.